welcome. This is the only OP14 pre-release guide you're going to need to help you win your OP14 pre-release. So first up, here's a quick reminder on how pre-release is played. So each player receives 6 packs to build a deck from, and you must build a 40 card deck from the cards you pulled from your pack in about 30 minutes. Then players should probably remember to bring a leader they want to play, unless you're playing a Rainbow Luffy event. Then the leaders should be provided. However, I'd recommend bringing them anyway, just in case they're not, or in case there aren't enough for everyone. So, what makes a good pre-release deck? Well, 2k counters and counter events are really important to keep your characters alive. In a pre-release event, you want to be orientating your strategy on control. So by controlling the board, you can eventually just go for game. And by having lots of 2k counters and counter events, it helps you keep a healthy board, so that you can keep these bodies to keep swinging into your opponent's characters. Blockers are also really useful for keeping your board alive, and keeping you a healthy life if you don't have much counter in hand. Vanilla statline cards are some of the best cards in the pre-release, purely because if you play 5 cost 7,000 power, that's your opponent requires 2 cards if you swing at their life with that, and you can swing at their characters as well. Card draw and filter is also super important for finding your win conditions and powerful cards, and win conditions are just, you need them to win your games. Having a good win condition in your deck will just really help boost your performance. So what leader should you be bringing to your pre-release? Well, for OP14 specifically, Rainbow Luffy's really good, mainly because a lot of the cards in this set are leader specific or 7 warlord specific. So Rainbow Luffy will allow you to use all these cards. Nami is also quite nice. In a set where there's not actually that many 2Ks, Nami is very nice in the fact that she can turn any card into a 2K for the turn on your leader. It just helps you cycle dead cards out your hand, and when you take life you get to draw a card to keep healthy hand sizes. Bonnie is also really good for a defense. You get to rest one of your opponent's leader characters when it attacks by resting 1 Don. Very strong effect. So if you want to play defensive, I'd recommend Bonnie. Yamato is always strong. He has double attack and activate main once per turn. If your opponent has 3 or less life, you can attach 2 rested Don to one of your characters. This is powerful because you can be more efficient with your Don, so you can use it all and then attach it somewhere. And double attack is very good on a leader. Sanji is probably one of the best leaders. You give anything with a cost of 8 or less and no on-play rush until the end of the turn. So play something, give it rush, do 2 swings, and then just keep attacking. You just aggro. And just you can also control the board with it. Personally, when I play Sanji, I like to kind of orientate my playstyle on control. Zoro is quite good this set. He gets to use a fair bit of Mihawk's resting abilities, so he's a lot better than he was last pre-release. And he's also just quite aggressive. Swinging 8, so 3 Don detached to leader to swing into a character then leader is a very good ability. And then we have Ace. He's similar to Nami, where you can turn a card into a 2k, and if your opponent KOs one of your cards with 6k power or less, or you take a damage, then you get to draw a card off that. It's super good for keeping a healthy hand size. So here we have all the 2ks in the set. There's really not that many this set, so you have to be careful. I'd say there's probably only 3 with good abilities, that being Bartolomeo, Humandrill, and Shakiyaku. Shakiyaku is draw 2 and trash 2 cards in your hand if your opponent has 3 or less life. Humandrill is on your turn when it's rested. Rest one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 4 or less. And Bartolomeo is Don times 2. He gains blocker. The rest either don't have effects because they're vanillas, or the effects are very specific to leader abilities. A lot of cards this set you're going to find have this problem of you kind of need to be playing the leader to be doing it, but in a sealed format, these leaders are not good. So don't play any of the OP14 leaders. They are not amazing in this set. So here we have all the counter events that I think are viable for this format. So Bullet String is plus 2k leader for a battle, and then plus 2k for the rest of the turn to a leader or a character. So a very strong card. It doesn't need explaining. Plus 4k on Pentachromatic String for 2 Don. Another very powerful counter event, and you get to ramp a Don. Ocean Current's Shoulder Throw. It has quite a good main effect for 5 Don. You can play a Fishman with a cost of 3 or less from your hand, and then return one of your opponent's characters with 6,000 power or less to their hand. and you get to draw a card on the counter as well as plus 3k to a leader, so quite strong. Crescent Cutlass, you're never going to be using the main. It's purely good for the 3k counter to your leader. Surprisingly, not many counter events this format actually have unconditional 3k, which is kind of insane. Next up we have Brickbat. So this is just plus 3k to a Thriller Bark Pirates type leader or character. It can be any character, and if you're playing Rainbow Luffy, it can be your leader as well. And that leader or character gets plus 3,000 for the battle. Everwhite, you can use it for ramp if you're playing Rainbow Luffy, but it's also really good for giving plus 3, just being another generic counter event. Next up, we have Strive to Surpass Me, Roronoa Zoro. So it's 2 Don or 1 Don and a card, and up to one of your leader or characters gets plus 4,000 power during the battle. Then we have For Fun. So it's got quite a good main effect, so you can rest 3 of your cards and 1 Don, and you can KO up to one of your opponent's rested characters with 7,000 base power or less. And it also has a 3k to your leader with counter. I never bother to remember the Faces of Trash. So it's 1 cost and rest 2 cards. You draw a card, then rest one of your opponent's characters with 7,000 base power or less. And one of your leaders will gain 3,000 power on the counter. And You'll Frighten Me, probably the best counter in this set. So if you have 2 or less life cards, up to one of your opponent's characters can't attack during this turn. That's 1 cost. It's silly. So next up, we have Green Nami. So it's a blocker, and on play you can rest 2 of your opponent's characters of a cost of 8 or less, and then set 5 of your Don cards as active at the end of the turn. You probably won't care about the 5 Don cards. It's nice if you have counter events, but to be honest, resting 2 characters of a cost of 8 or less is insane. Like, letting you just rest 2 blockers and go for game for 4 cost. It's like Dead Man's Game with blocker on it. It's stupid. And then Shirahoshi. So on play, you draw a card. To be honest, I don't think you really care about the Fisherman part of that effect. Blocker with draw a card on it is really nice. So next up we have our cards with vanilla stat lines. I've not included the cards with 2k counter stat lines here, purely because they're already at the start of this video. So let's go over our vanilla stat lines. So first up, we've got Shiryu. I would not be using his on-play ability, so I'm not going to go over it. Next up we have Jinbei. On play, you can rest 2 of your Don cards, you draw 2, and then return 1 character of a cost of 7 or less to the owner's hand. Insane, honestly. It's so good. I would definitely wait for 10 Don to use this. Chu, 1 for 3, on play if your leader has the Fishman type, draw a card. It's really only good in Rainbow Luffy. I'd just use it for card draw in that deck. Virgo, it just stops a Don Quixote type character being removed from the field by your opponent's effects by returning 1 Don for your Don deck instead. So he can protect himself, and when attacking, you can Don -1 to give one of your opponent's characters minus 2,000 power during the turn, which is honestly a really good effect. It's really good for removal. Diamante, 6/8, 1k counter, just regular vanilla. Miss Doublefinger, so if you have 7 or more cards in the trash, she gains 1,000 power, and all your characters with a type of Baroque Works gain plus 2 cost. I don't think that's going to matter that much, but she's a vanilla if you have 7 or more cards in trash. Ryuma, 3 for 5, on KO, draw 2 and trash 2 from your hand. One of the best effects, honestly, like on a vanilla. If I get that, I'm putting as many as I can in my deck. Galdino, another one of these insane, another one of these crazy vanillas. So if this character be KO'd, you can place 3 cards in your trash at the bottom of your deck in any order instead. And once per turn, but 4/6, very good ability if you don't want to counter. Next up is Absalom. His ability is irrelevant. I don't think you're going to be searching for Thriller Bark Pirates cards, but play him anyway. Maybe we'll get lucky and find one. Next up is Oars, 8 for 10. Same with Moria, 8 for 10. And you can play a Thriller Barks type character, cost him 4 or less from your trash, or add it to the top of your life cards face up. Next up is Marguerite, 3 for 5, and on play you search for an Amazon Lily or Kuja Pirates type card and add it to your hand. And then you have to trash one from your hand, so I would not recommend using her on play if you play her. Next up is Scratchman Apu, 3/5 and 1k counter. X-Drake, another one of these minus 2k power when attacking. 5 for 7, very good stat line. Would definitely recommend playing this if you get it, because he can also protect himself from being KO'd by effects. And finally, probably the best vanilla stat line in this set is Shanks. So 7 for 9, your turn when this character is rested, rest up to one of your opponent's characters with 7,000 base power or less, and on your opponent's turn, if this character is rested, give all of your opponent's characters minus 1000 power. It's insane. So next up, we have our card draw and filter. So we have our Jinbei again. Just good in any deck. Chu, if you're on Rainbow Luffy. Hachan, it's okay for early game, I guess. I wouldn't recommend using it. It's one of the worst ones. Fisher Tiger, probably the best card draw in this set. At the end of your turn, you got to make sure you have less than 5 cards in your hand. But to be honest, that's not too bad. Drawing 3 if you're a fishman is insane, so I would definitely be playing this in Rainbow Luffy. Please take me with you, another one for Rainbow Luffy. If you have 2 or less cards in your hand, you can draw 2 for 1 cost. Just another nuts one. Miss Golden Week, it's draw 2, trash 2 with a 2k counter. However, I don't really see a reason why this is going to be on your board to even be coded in the first place. So it's another one of those card draws that's not really amazing. Ryuma, gone over this one already. On KO, draw 2, trash 2 with a vanilla stat line. This one is really good. Mr. 5 Gem. If you have a character of a cost of 8 or more, because you're never going to have a character of a cost of 0, you get to draw 2 and trash 1 from your hand. To be honest, this one's very conditional and I don't see it coming up. I would mainly just be playing it for the blocker stat line if I need to. Gloriosa is another one that's quite good for filter. So you get to, it's basically Hiyori, but 1k counter and a trigger to player. And you may add 1 card from the top or bottom of your life cards to your hand and add 1 card from your hand to the top of your life cards. So if you have any Thriller Bark triggers or anything that you want to put on top of your life, or an Amazon Lily trigger, just put it on there with her. Next up we have Shakiyaku. So if your opponent has 3 or less life cards, draw 2 cards and trash 2 cards from your hand. And 2k counter on it too, which is really nice. Shirahoshi, blocker with a draw on it, absolutely insane. The Coffin Boat. So if your leader's Dracula Mihawk, you get to draw a card. So this is another one for Rainbow Luffy. Next up, Aladdin is just on KO, draw a card. And then finally, Karobi. It's another one that's not really amazing that I wouldn't really recommend playing. It's just on KO, draw a card. So here we have all our win conditions and power plays. So we've gone over Shanks already and Jinbei, but Perona. So on play, up to 2 of your opponent's characters with a cost of 5 or less cannot be rested until the end of your opponent's next turn. And then on KO, you can rest one of your cards and play 1 green character with a cost of 5 or less from your hand. So that's just nuts. So it lets you keep tempo going and stop your opponent from attacking. Doflamingo, so Dom -3, you choose 1. If your leader has a Don Quixote Pirates type, KO up to 1 of your opponent's characters with a cost of 8 or less, so that's for Rainbow Luffy. But if you're just not Rainbow Luffy, you can still up to 3, make it so 3 of your opponent's characters with a cost of 7 or less can't be rested until the end of your opponent's next turn. Next up we have Rayleigh, so if your leader is multicolored and your opponent has 3 or less life cards, KO up to 1 of your opponent's characters with a 7000 base power or less, so very nice. We have 9 cost Bella, so if your leader has the 7 Warlords of the Sea type, add up to 1 card from the top of your deck to the top of your life cards, then add up to 1 card from the top of your opponent's life to their hand. Stupid. It's like 10 cost Mum from OP14. Next up we have Mihawk, so when this character is rested, up to 1 of your opponent's characters with a cost of 9 or less cannot be rested until the end of your opponent's next turn. And then on your opponent's attack, you can trash 1 card from your hand and up to 1 of your leads or characters gains plus 2000 power for the battle. Crocodile. On play, 1 of your opponent's characters with a cost of 9 or less can't attack till the end of your opponent's next turn. Then, if there's a character with a cost of 0 or a character with a cost of 8 or more, you draw a card, which is Crocodile. So you'll always get to draw a card there. And then on KO, you can trash a card from your hand and play Crocodile from your trash. It's stupid. And to be honest, if you get one, you're probably going to win your pre-release. Next up is Law. It's 9 cost, 10k power of Rush. And on your opponent's attack, you can trash 2 cards from your hand. Select 1 of your characters, and you swap the base power of the selected character with the base power of your leader during the battle. So for 1 battle, you could make your leader 10k with Law. Next up we have Zoro. So it's Rush, and when attacking, give 1 of your opponent's characters minus 1000 power for the turn, for 7 cost. So very nice there. Finally, here's some notes on the pre-release. So always try to swing 2k above whatever you're attacking, just so we can force cards out your opponent's hand, and just, you know, be as efficient as possible. You want to focus on control. It's just the best method to play in a pre-release. And, you know, despite this pre-release pool not being the best or not being the most fun pre-release to play, just enjoy it. Have fun with your friends, and good luck. Thank you again for watching. If you made it this far, it would mean a lot if you could like and subscribe, and hit the notification bell too, so you never miss a video. Thank you again, and see you soon.